Hi all, we are developers from DevZile. This is our first podcast. My name's Alex. I was the initial creator of the server, and with me I have Nate, and I also have Shreyas. I'm a junior developer, self-taught. Nate, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, yes. So I'm Nate. I'm the creator of the DevZile open source group. I joined with Alex to host our open source projects on his Discord channel and community. And in my full-time job, I'm a software engineer. And what that means is I do a lot of front-end work in React, and my back-end work is primarily in Node.js.
My name is Shreyas. I'm a software developer. I'm also part of the team who handles the server for DevZile, and also a contributor to the DevZile open source. Experience is mostly in front-end web development. I've done projects on React, and I'm also looking to specialize in full stack JavaScript. So that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Shreyas. So the topic we're discussing today is why coding is difficult, or why it has this kind of stigma that coding is difficult, and it kind of pollutes the space around people's notions of what coding is. So today we're just going to try and clear some of that up as our first podcast.
I mean, coding is difficult because it introduces a lot of uncertainty on how you're going to potentially structure your code at the beginning. Whenever you have an idea of an app or a website, it's the first thing that you're always going to encounter is how should I go about, solving this problem. So for me, I would say coding is difficult mainly because of its uncertainty in what tools or programming language or libraries you should be using.
I think I can agree with that, and I would also like to add that initially when you're learning coding, everything can be intimidating. You have lots of resources available, lots of tutorials, articles, and guides, people advising you to take this route and all of that. So it can be intimidating. And then as you progress onto past the rookie stage, as you progress onto more beginner, junior kind of level, you have to, like Nate said, you have to decide on what you have to use for your application. And you always get the feeling of insecurity, like what if this isn't the right way to do it? Is there something else, some other different way? So you always try to seek answers you always try to seek answers outside of your own project. In that sense,
you mentioned something there, Shreyas, about seeking others' advice. I think that's a crucial bit in the fact that people misinform beginners.
That's true, yeah. Because there's an abundance of resources. It's not like there's lack thereof. There's abundance. So sometimes information can be biased, as people have preferences and also opinions. So this for a junior, this can be pretty hard because as a junior you're not really aware of it until you're a couple of months of studying in. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I agree with Shreyas. Mainly as a developer, you get better as soon as you start repeating the code, because as soon as you learn something, you figure out quickly on that that's not how you. That's not the implementation for most of the projects, right? You're going to start seeing that there's use cases, and use cases mainly when something breaks your code, right? So you have to write some extra piece of code or refactor so that it doesn't break. So I would say that coding is difficult because of the experience you need to accumulate by repeating what you're doing.
That's definitely true. That is. I don't think you could sum it up better than that.
Also highlight the fact that one should always be consistent. You have to be consistent. You have to keep going at it over and over again until it finally clicks. So coding isn't exactly hard. If you think about anything else, like studying for if you're doing something in business, you're doing marketing plans, you're trying to implement a strategy. It's all about consistency and all about how you think about it. If you think about it more deeper and you brainstorm yourself on that topic, you'll definitely get more ideas on how to go about certain things. Code is in a similar way. You approach a problem in different ways, and as long as you're consistent and you keep practicing it, it'll come for you naturally.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And I think another point to mention is a lot of people are under the assumption that coding is a solo thing, especially when you're beginning. Whereas if you have the mindset that you're aiming to learn to work with other people, learn to learn from other people, and learn to adapt to other people and their styles, methods, and thoughts and opinions, then coding's not as difficult. But if you try and approach it alone, you're going to enter. It's hard to kind of fathom the fact that coding is a group activity.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Alex.
Yeah.
And I would say that coding it's definitely a lot of people start alone. They educate themselves at home. They take courses on these websites, Udemy, they read books. And when it comes to working with others, coding is very difficult. You know, it's not just your own code. You have to read other people's code and understand their way of thinking.
Exactly.
So there's a way of synchronizing with each other's thoughts that is not necessarily mentioned in many courses. So yes, I would definitely tell people to get involved in open source projects like ourselves, to get involved in how to work with others, and definitely understand what it takes to really contribute to a code base, because teamwork is definitely a part of coding that's difficult.
Yeah, and try and stay away from the assumption when learning or when entering junior territory that coding isn't a solo activity. It never will be. It never has been. I mean, you can work alone, but when it comes to doing it professionally, it's very unlikely you'd work alone. Even in contract work, they'll probably have multiple contractors. So approach it with a mindset of a team.
You also have to have this mental fortitude of not giving up, because a lot of stuff, things will always be breaking, right?
Yeah.
I can hear your side, Alex. Things will always be breaking, so you always have to not kind of let it knock you down. A computer is like a very quick feedback system. It tells you what you did wrong, no excuses. So you have to you have to fix it. You have to get up. You have to fight again. You have to code something better, or you have to figure out the solution for what it really is. Because I can tell that the human brain assumes a lot of stuff, and most of the time it's incorrect. So when there's a piece of code that breaks, and tells you, hey, actually, you didn't think of this, then yeah, you're wrong and you need to move over that.
Or they've just done it wrong, or they've done an update. Sometimes it's the computer, and you have every right to be angry at them.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes back to the point where Shreyas was talking about misinformation, where other people don't write the documents clearly enough. So then you have like this library that isn't documented properly. So when you go in to use it, it's just breaking, and you don't know what the hell is going on.
I had that experience 2 days ago, trying to use a plugin for app dev, and the documentation didn't have a single line of words. It was just all code. Examples of how to use it. That was it. But no words, no explanation.
Can I ask what library was it? Sounds pretty awful.
It was called it's in native script. It's called pull to refresh. Now, if you go native script -pull to refresh, go in the plugins on npm. Yeah, it's just code. There's actually not a single line where you use it. So it's a funny about with that. Got it working, and then I get a message off my boss today, and he's like, you forgot the Webpack config, and we were about to build it, and I'm like, oh, did I? Sorry about that. I did.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm gonna blame the computer or the person who's written the program for the computer, because they stress me out daily. Or just because it's a big framework doesn't mean it's written right. There's so much wrong with it.
And that is the thing, right? That your boss will come up to you and you will say, the computer did this, or the library was the problem for this, right? But at the end of the day, they don't care, because you're the one that's managing the integration of this product, right? So
Yep.
This is one of the reasons why coding is difficult, because people just expect you to get the job done.
Exactly. Yeah. And also unrealistic expectations always leads to, it doesn't go well. You need to know what to expect, and you need to know how to delegate. So it's really important that, as developers, us, we also have to understand a lot more than just what we're working on. We have to understand how, as we grow, we also have to understand how a business works, so that, if our for example if for example one day our boss comes up and says, hey, you know what, I have a feature I would like you to add, someone else suggested it. You should have the capability to at least to voice out your opinion, saying that, hey, you know what, it sounds like a nice idea, but maybe it's not a bit practical in the situation because it doesn't work the way you think it does. So communication skills, learning how the business works, that will definitely go a long way as a developer.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Certain days you can just go with, being in the flow. Like, you get tickets at work, for tickets for that you have to solve and get the work done and push your code. So certain days, you just breeze through your tickets like it's nothing, and other days you just feel like the tickets are just pulling it down. You just feel like it's really heavy.
And that's how it is. And that's just how a job is.
Yeah.
Coding on your own for fun is great. It's really fun. Blast music, have a fag, stroke your dog. But then when it comes to a job, you have to follow methods to keep you all aligned and in a team, especially agile. I think that's what really makes it difficult. I think that's what makes it difficult for me. For me, like out of all things to adjust to is reading other people's fucking code and having to critique it. It's just so hard. It sounds easy, but it's really not. It could be like the most simple feature. It can be maybe just the way someone's written an API, and maybe the endpoint's just named badly. But you have to be able to spot that rather than just kind of being flamboyant and going, it doesn't matter. It's just a name. It's just a name. It's just a variable name. Or that function is saying TypeScript. Oh, they forgot to set the return type. Oh, it doesn't matter. It works anyway. You can't. It's just strange.
Can't do that.
It's a strange way you have to start thinking. Like, and I'm nowhere near ready for that.
I mean, flamboyancy is great in the workplace, but what I want to also end on a note is kind of like just enjoy your time that you're coding, right? Don't expect it to be like a race always. There are some points that you're going to find yourself like pacing through some code. You know exactly what to do because you've done it before, but there are some points where you hit like a new area, and you have to research and then have to learn this, right? You research how you should code it, then you code it, and it works, and then you refactor. So don't ever be demotivated about the fact that you always have to learn new stuff. Just pace yourself, enjoy the journey, and things will work, and ultimately that's what code is about, right?
I mean, I like what you just said about learning new stuff. You do it on the fly, don't you? Right? So you get given a ticket or whatever, stories or whatever you want to call them, and you come up to it. And then it turns out it's something you've never encountered before. You've never encountered it. You don't know what it is, and you have to learn it to do the job.
Absolutely,
it's just mad. Yes. It's bloody mental. But I like the fact that in a lot of teams they give us a lot of time to learn. And it's called A&D. I think they call it A&D.
What is that?
So they give us time to research before we do a ticket. So we add it. So in our story points, we put a few for the research.
Okay.
So that's definitely like it follows through the natural workflow of a developer.
Yeah, but I've only had 2 jobs, so I don't really know much. But for me, that's how it works. And trying to learn all this new tech is mad. It's difficult, but it's kind of fun at the same time because you learn new stuff. So
you want to do something exciting. You want you want something that really gets you in the flow. But it's not always like that. You just have there are good days, there are bad days. You just have to push through. That's how it is at the end of the day. And it's part of the journey. So you should always be there for the journey and not just the end result. That's also another important thing. If you don't enjoy the journey, then the end result will just look like some, it'll just look like something you just achieve and just keep it on a rack, saying that, hey, I achieved all of this. So it won't look like a real achievement. So enjoy the journey.
Yeah. I think I'd take that one on board myself. For sure.
Thank you guys for joining the stream. You can join us every Sunday at 5 p.m. in 5 p.m. Central European time for this podcast. And if you would like to join us, we have a Discord server, which the links will be down in the description. We also have an Instagram page, and also you can follow us on Twitter. Thank you, and also be sure to check out our GitHub page. Thank you. Bye-bye.